Okay, I'm back with the family truckster. I got my BTP hoodie on because it's cold outside, which means it's cold inside. I haven't finished the insulation work on the shop, and I don't have my new heater in here, so we're just gonna grunt through it. The last time you saw the Suburban, I brought it in because it had a whining noise, and it's really only coming on with acceleration or hard deceleration. My concern was that it was something going on with the transmission. We went ahead and drained out the old transmission fluid, which was pretty old. Changed out the filter, put in new fluid. It still shifts really well. There's no issues that I'm finding with the transmission. That doesn't mean it couldn't still be the torque converter or even the front pump on the trans. But before I spend that kind of money and go through that kind of work, I'm going to do a little detective work. I noticed there's some odd wear on the front tire. It's not significant on either side, but it's enough to make me think, well, maybe something isn't right. So we're going to take this 250,000 mile Suburban and go ahead and give it a little front bearing refresh. Doesn't hurt to do it anyway. While we're in there looking at that, we're going to check out the brakes, and then we'll move on. And if that's not the problem, we obviously need to work our way back. Could still be the rear end pinion bearing going out because the fluid was a little low, and it does have 250,000 miles. And if it's not that, then we know we need to do some work on the transmission. So I got it jacked up, got it up on jack stands. Gonna go ahead and pull the wheels off. And to do that, we've got our special covers here. Now I gotta find the socket for it. These are, I believe, 2010 or 2012 3/4 ton takeoffs. And I, of course, adapted them to fit my 1994 Suburban. It's an 8-lug. I really like the look of them. So as we look to upgrade this vehicle to the ultimate tow bourbon, we may have to look at these wheels again so that we don't have to use adapters. But in the meantime, they work just fine for what we use it for. Go easy on the plastic lug nuts. So with that, we got our lug nuts on our running board. So keep an eye on that. If you can see it, just make sure nobody steals them. We got plenty of cotter pin work you can do later. Everything feels solid. We're this far in, we might as well pull it apart. It's definitely seen better days. It's like thick molasses. Well, if nothing else, this truck's going to have fresh parts in it, so that at some point in its life, it's going to do the work that I really need it to do. I need it to haul my family, I need it to take me across the country when I go on trips. I mean, we have a minivan for little stuff, but come on, I want to tow a car. Isn't that what this is all about? Sometimes I'm going to drive the car. But other times it's just going to make more sense and be more convenient to just pull the car behind us. We have a vehicle for parts runs and such. And then we have, race car. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the part you've all been waiting for. Cotter pin. Thankfully, in this application, we have new ones in our bag. But I like to recycle. So, once I get this out of here, if you guys will just kind of keep an eye on it, we'll snag it up and put it in the, extra parts bin. Because you never know when you need a cotter pin. They sneak off, and no offense, but you guys kind of slack at this. There are times I've asked you to watch the pin and you just lost it. Did you know that every logoed Buff's Garage t-shirt has a cotter pin hidden in the logo? Get yours today at buffsgarage.com and find the cotter pin. Okay, where can I put it? Should I put it with the cap? Can you guys see that? If I leave it right there, I'm gonna put it with the cap. Well, all right, now you see it. Cotter pin going in the cap. Watch it. No, really, no. Hey, stop looking at your phone. I mean, unless you're watching the video on the phone, but stop, distracting yourself. Can I get you to do the one thing I asked? Just watch the cotter pin. That way I can focus on this. And as long as we don't lose the cotter pin, right? We can still watch what's going on, but just if you've got one eye that can go straight watching me, the other eye just kind of veer off like your crazy cousin Nettie, just like that. Just veer it off. Watch over here. If I'm in the way, just say something. I'll move so you can watch it. All right, let's get that off. So we got our spindle nut loosened. Before we go any further, we got to take this brake caliper off. Get in here and pop it loose. And put these over here too. Try to keep the tools separate from the parts. You want to try not to hang your brake caliper by the brake line. In this case, I happen to have a couple of zip ties and a 63 Grand Prix hood spring. I think we can make it work. Here we go. Still watching that? I was in the way. Well, can you see it now? Okay. I'll try to stay out of the way, but Maybe you need to get on this side of me. Let's try that. You can see what I'm doing. Nothing too crazy. Spindle nut off. Where's my screwdriver? She wants to come right out. Not a lot of grease. I'm gonna guess whether they were making noise or not, it was time. Yep, that's pretty thick. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with what we got here. Just time to freshen it up. Let's go ahead and pop this seal out, check our inner bearing, and then that'll get us to the next stage. There's always a right way and a wrong way, and then there's the way that I do it. Again, doesn't seem horrible. But it doesn't hurt to go ahead and update what we got. Well, let's go ahead and see what we got at the local Napa. I can always rely on my hometown auto parts store to get me the parts I need. And honestly, very rarely are they wrong. Looks like we have the new bearing and race. All right, we're back to everyone's favorite part, packing wheel bearings. All right, guys, so you can watch 100 YouTube videos on how to pack a wheel bearing. That isn't going to be the video today. So I'm going to go ahead and get the wheel bearings packed, get this hub back on, and then I'll be back to you in just a moment. Gave me the wrong wheel bearings for the outside. So we're going to stop here. I'll head into the parts store tomorrow and we will get the correct bearing and try again. Thank you for watching the cotter pin, because we had to reuse it in this application. All right, cotter pin's back in. Get our dust cap back on. Put our brake caliper back on, and then we'll come back and see if we can find the right outer bearing and try this again. You know what? While I'm in here, I'm gonna go ahead and grease all my grease points. All right, we got all of our fittings greased. Honestly, they were all pretty good, but never hurts to top them off. And I hit it with some brake clean just because we got a little bit of grease on the actual surface. Doesn't hurt to clean it off. All right, we're going to reinstall our brake caliper. We'll be done for now until we can get back to the parts store, get the proper outer bearing, and, you know, see what else we need to do. All right, get our hood hinge spring out of here. By the way, the brake pads look really good. So this won't be something we'll be having to deal with for a little bit. Well, okay, so at this point, we're going to put our wheel back on, get it back off the jack stands. We'll head to the parts store in the morning and see if we can't get the right outer bearing before we take this one back apart and before we tackle the other side. No point in pulling it apart if we know we got the wrong parts. So let's get it back together for now, and we'll go from there. right, the transmission fluid's showing to the top. I need to run it around and make sure we get all that circulated, come back, recheck it, make sure we're good. All right, so it's winter time, so we need to go ahead and top off our washer fluid, because you never know when you're going to have inclement weather and need to clear your windshield. It can be a really dangerous situation if you don't have the ability to pull over right away to clear your windshield. So this stuff is good to 0 degrees. It's not going to de-ice your windshield or anything, but it'll definitely help clear it. If you get behind a big truck or somebody splashes mud and dirt onto your windshield. All right, let's take it for a cruise, see if it changes anything. Obviously, we still have the other side to do, but if I don't notice anything majorly different, still gonna go ahead and do what I'm doing. But we really need to start thinking about either the transmission or the rear pinion. All right. So if you can hear the whine right now, you know that we talked about this in the last episode about the Suburban, the family truckster. You know that I tried a couple things to try to fix it. Number one, drop the pan and change the fluid in the filter. Maybe it was clogged up, I don't know. But then fast forward, now I've tried to change out the wheel bearings, obviously still not the issue. So since we still have the whine and we've got fresh fluid and filter in it, I went ahead and ordered a torque converter from O'Reilly's. It was actually the lowest priced one I could find. Yeah, I know quality and all that, but let's be honest, I'm on a budget. My budget's pretty much 0. So, for a $600 or $700 part, getting it for 160 bucks was a pretty good deal. So I'm gonna get that installed, but to do that, we've got to drop the transmission. If I'm gonna drop the transmission, I might as well go ahead and, fix the rear seal on the engine, because I pretty much leave a nice puddle everywhere I go. But you know what they say, if there's oil leaking out of it, that means there's oil in it. So it's just one of those things that, transmission's out, it's right there. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. But so I guess I'm gonna stop by the parts store and gather up the supplies, pull out the Pontiac and pull the Suburban in and get to work. But thanks for watching Buff's Garage. Let's get to this.